Hi, Psychic Frank. Namaste. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining in. Well, I was here 2 weeks ago, but it wasn't me. It was the equipment. But they got it all working now, so we're back to normal. I thought I had screwed up and pressed the wrong record button, but it wasn't me. It was something technical. So I just wanted to get to my loyal viewers. Thank you for watching me, and for you who are just watching me for the first time. I'm a psychic, and I use a lot of us have challenges with time frames. So I was taught years ago, decades ago, by some fabulously gifted people to use astrology and numerology to get my more accuracy, because astrology shouldn't be event thing, but you do want to know. I always feel like astrology is like if you're going on a trip, you just usually look at a map. Well, it used to be, and you see where the terrain is. Well, that's what astrology is. Every year you look. Okay, Jupiter's going to be on my rising sign. Good time to start. Saturn's in my money house. I better get some. Whatever. This. It's a wonderful. It enhances life is what I'm getting at, and so the planets don't make things happen to you. They simply reflect what's going on. I was just getting centered to start this. Yeah, we're recording, and my guides told me. I sat here and I did a few ohms and got centered, and then right off the bat they said, "Oh, don't forget to mention." What's going on? Let me get my calendar here. Uh, when Jupiter in Sagittarius goes 21, 22 degrees. So we're talking about the exact date is right around the 24th, 25th, because Donald Trump's birthday is the 22nd. His sun is 22 Gemini, and his moon is 21 Sag. And Jupiter will be 21 Sag starting the 20th of October. And Donald Trump and chairman or the president of China, what's his name? He is born one day. So he and Donald Trump are almost astral twins. They're born this, I don't know what years. I know Donald Trump's year. He was born in 46. He's 2 years older than me. It makes me feel good. Yeah, it's a sacrifice. Not a sacrifice, but it took a lot of, get off dairy, and to maintain a vegan diet. Like I have a choice now. Once you do it for over, a decade or so, it becomes like, you just got it, you live for nuts and seeds. Oh, I have a great quote I found. A great quote. It said, my guides gave it to me this week. The greatest oak was once a little nut who held his ground. The greatest oak was once a little nut who held his ground. I put that on this astrology I listen to. There's some amazing astrologers out there, and I discover a new one all the time. And most of them are women. I don't know. I haven't listened to many men. So what's going to happen around the 19th, starting around the 19th, is when Jupiter will be at the Galactic Center, the GC of the Milky Way. That only happens every 12 years. So think back to what happened in 2007, I believe. 12 years ago, 2007. And this time we've got a lot going on with with all these planetary things going on. But this is, we'll talk about this Galactic Center being visited by Jupiter, and it's all about cosmic consciousness, truth, abundance, and cosmic expansion. These are not human laws; these are cosmic laws. A lot of what runs our society, these human laws, and there are a lot of man-made laws, and Mother Nature's got laws, and it's been a while. I wouldn't. I know it's been well over 1,000 years, but I don't think they were that into electronics and stuff. I know, back the last time the magnetic poles flipped, but they're at their weakest point now. And that's going to be an interesting day because they will flip. I don't know much about it. There's a lot of people who do, and of course they're not getting much attention because people don't want to hear that stuff. So yeah, we're going to talk more about the on the 19th of November we get Jupiter. That's like a one time. It affects 6 months on either side of it, but it peaks exact on the 19th, and right after that there's this thing going on with Jupiter on an opposition to. The chairman of China there, and Chairman Mao, I keep on saying Mao, whatever, the human rights violator who's making life for my Tibetan brothers and sisters very, very difficult. Tibet is the heart of China, and it's not communist. It's not communist. But yeah, it's things are more like they are now than they ever have been. Eisenhower said that, and Gerald Ford, bungally said that, and I'm saying it now. So yeah, it's, things are more like they are. I mean, we really are incarnated now, and and it's an election coming up now, and we're being bombarded. And isn't it interesting? Every time there's an election, they're always precious, but it's always like something to protect the kids, and it's always the kids are off on something to escape what's going on. These kids today are living with every day could be their last. We've got enough nuclear weapons to blow this earth away to smithereens. There's a big spot between a couple of the planets there. Did you ever notice when you see the galaxies, there's this big spot between Mars and Jupiter? There was something there, So and if the right one don't get you, the left one will. The forests, the very air we breathe, our ozone layer was mending. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? If you really like the kids, don't pimp them during elections. Some corporations, and why are the kids addicted? See, everybody gets to the effect, gets to the cause, start working on denuclearization. See what that would do to restoring faith and giving the kids wanting not to kill themselves. I figured, it's like when I was growing up, it was there was that song Curtis Mayfield. If there's a hell, below, we're all gonna go there. So why not? While I'm here, I have me a real good time, But so these or education now, and nothing about alcohol. I mean, there's outdoor bars right across the street from playgrounds for toddlers, right in my neighborhood, Hayes Valley, and kids, parents are totally obtuse. That has no effect. Those kids are taking in all that. And they're like sponges, but don't, God forbid, have a cannabis. It's ridiculous. Pluto went direct last night. Oh my God, it was just. It's been a long mid-April. Saturn went direct, went retrograde. Those are big planets, Saturn and Pluto, and they're going to conjunct right around. Here it is. Here's the Mountain Astrologer. On sale now. And it's taken me a while, but I'm getting into Leah Whitehouse, Leah Whitehouse, and here she writes in the forecast here about, excuse me, people, at the beginning of this period. See, there's a lot of astrologers out there. I'm a psychic who uses astrology and numerology in my healing, and but I just want to get a feeling of as I said, the planets don't make things happen. They simply reflect what's going on. What's going on now is happening for us, not to us. It's very important now. So I have an arrow here, and I made a note. I start like tomorrow. I'll be working on the show. I'll be doing 2 weeks. I'm here the first and the third Thursday of every month. So I put a lot of effort into collecting all these thoughts. So first of all, I found something here because on my last show I experienced an arrow in my heart, metaphorically speaking, but it's no less painful. And and it was on YouTube. It got a lot of views, and I got a lot of. I started off with a Charles Bukowski poem, "The Laughing Heart," and here's a quote from Charles Bukowski: "Slavery was never abolished. It was only extended to include all colors." God bless him. He left us in '94. Yeah, it's all about don't let your soul, don't let them club you into dank submission. Okay, it says the uses of adversity. This is an old. It says the happiness hypotheses. So this was written in '06. Yeah, I buy all these books. I have this really small space to live in. It's like my saint cell, and it's got all these books I buy because they're $1 at the library, and I know I want to read them, but not right now. So this is I acquired in '06, and I'm on my hands and knees cleaning the other day, and I'm going, wow, this is gotta share this. Yeah, so this is the happiness hypotheses by Jonathan Haidt, circa 2006, I believe, finding modern truth in ancient wisdom. And this is some written in 3rd century BC. That's about as ancient wisdom. Ming Tai Tzu, TCU. I'm only 70. I'm going on 71 pretty soon, a couple of weeks. But before I leave this planet, I really want to learn one dialect of Chinese. I wanted to do that for years, but life gets in the way. But I'm sure I'd take to it. Okay, when heaven is about to confer a great responsibility on any man or woman, it will. I threw in that. It will exercise his or her mind with suffering, subject his or her sinews and bones to hard work, expose his or her body to hunger, put him or her to poverty, place obstacles in the path of his deeds, so as to stimulate his mind, harden his nature, and improve whatever he is incompetent. God, my immediate reaction when I read this to a buddy of mine up in Oregon was to flip at the bird. But, it's funny, But it's an interesting hypothesis because this whole thing about Nietzsche said, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. But, that's not true. When you give it a lot of thought, there's such a thing as PTSD, a debilitating condition that leaves its victims anxious and overreactive. People who suffer from PTSD are changed, sometimes permanently. They panic or crumble more easily when faced with later adversity. Our president makes fun of disabled people. He mocks them. God, shake it off, Frank, shake it off. Today there was the woman in Texas who shot the black man in his own apartment, 26 years old, was hugged by the dead man's brother. I cried, I learned a lot today. I was humbled. My friend, rest his soul, Frankie Smith, used to say, when you say the word humble, you're not. If you're humble, you can't even say that word, but it lacks humility that I would even say it humbled me. But I was moved, it's safe to say, moved to tears, and it made me think, made me think. I got a lot of work to do, so, yeah. Wow, I just felt my heart sort of move. Yeah, it's a wonderful piece of video. The brother of, and then they went right to some footage of the people outside screaming. They wanted a stricter sentence for her, and it's everybody's. Well, things are all get used to the intensity because it ain't going away. Okay, what happened? Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, um, just went direct last night. Just in the here in the West Pacific time, it was just around midnight, 11:37 p.m. Yeah, I woke up around 12:30 to use the facilities, and I felt different. I said, "Wow, yeah." So it was April, beginning in the end of April. Pluto went direct. Mid-April, Saturn went retrograde. Rather, they both went retrograde in April, and now they're both going direct along with Jupiter, and now but this morning, Thursday morning here, 1:15 a.m. Mercury entered Scorpio, and Mars tonight at 9:22 entered Libra. Mars enters Libra. This all you Libras are going to get all energized. I have a Libra friend who's really suggestive to planetary things. She's a Libra lady, and I remember a few years ago, Mars was on her rising sign for 2 months, and for 2 months she's lived and she was a gym rat. She went to the gym her before morning and all day long talked about how good she felt, and then as soon as Mars left her first house. Um, she lost interest in the gym. But yeah, I thought that was kind of comical. Because she's in good shape, but I think we all need to work out on our own pace. I underline, and I walk. I walk all over San Francisco. I only take the bus when I really, really have to. Okay, on the 3rd, Mercury enters Scorpio. It will stay until December 9th now, because Mercury's going to go retrograde in Scorpio come November, mid-November, right around November 21st. Uh, Let me see. November, where are we? Uh, yeah, November 20th, Wednesday the 20th, 11:12. Mercury go retrograde 11 degrees Scorpio. So, and then it goes all the way down to, uh, no, it goes direct rather. Goes direct to 21st. Goes of November. It goes retrograde. 1 second here. What's that? Mercury enters Scorpio, 27 degrees. Oh, here it is. It goes. Uh, well, anyway, check it out. Okay. Well, anyway, there's astrologers I really recommend. There's a woman named, I wrote it down here so I wouldn't forget it. Rachel Spring, of course. She's amazing. She has these, she's really good at talking it so you understand it. And you really don't need to know much about astrology. But what I just discovered was this Molly McCord, MCORD. And she has this video on the 19th of November with this event. And I said, because something's going to, you could tell something's going to happen because this is a once every 12-year event. I looked it up, what was going on the planet Earth in 2007, the last time Jupiter, and we can expect there were all kinds of tectonic shift things going on, catastrophic fires in Southern California, actually. Yeah, so that's one thing about the planets. They're cyclic, they go around. This thing with Pluto only goes around every like couple of hundred years. That's why Saturn, the structure, and Pluto, the destructor and destroyer of structures and the rebuilder of paradigms, this is all happening in our money house. It kicks in December when they conjunct in Capricorn, and then they get into Aquarius come the spring next year. And then until 2025, so from 2020 to 2025, it's going to be like slow but steady paradigm changes. And so get used to the intensity now. Of course, it's going to get more intense as on where I wrote it down here. Yeah, Venus enters Scorpio on the 9th here in California for 3 weeks, and the Sun enters Scorpio on the 24th. So that's going to be a whole lot of Scorpio energy. But all this, as I said, happening with Jupiter is once every 12-year event, and it's sort of been happening we've been feeling it for 6 months, and after this event, we'll be feeling it for another few months. Uh, Lesser and lesser as time goes by. But it is definitely, I think, going to affect Donald Trump a lot more, as Donald Trump has a moon. South Node conjunction Sag, which is a past life retrograde. They're not retrograde, but it's a past life memory of karmic thing of running roughshod over people where they live. You know, yeah. So. And we've got his whole administration now is run by Stephen Miller, who's all about their whole mantra is cruelty is cruelty is the point. Yeah, that's the whole point of everything you're doing now. So Leia says, at the beginning of this period, 6 degrees of separation is all that stands between us and the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which perfects in January of 2020. By the end of November, the orb will be down to just 4 degrees. Anything within 8 degrees is a conjunction, so we've been feeling it, but that's only going to get more intense, especially right through November while Mercury is still in Scorpio, and then around the beginning of December, Mercury will slip into Sag. Uh, yeah, right around the 9th, the 8th or 9th of December. And then Jupiter enters Capricorn on the 2nd of December. We're going to have Jupiter won't be back in Sag for another 12 years, and that's going to bring things down to earth. Of course, it's going to conjunct the South Node and Capricorn and Saturn. So the power isn't going to crumble easily. As Donald Trump now is mad, I'm laughing because it's. So I don't cry, but he wants, just like Steve Bannon said, Nazi Steve Bannon said in his book, he wants a civil war. He wants the people to love him so much that they're going to, have a civil war. And in some states, they do, Alabama, I don't know. Things couldn't be more intense. Things could, like our democracy, our planet is literally, So this is just like, if we're going to get out of this, we got to know where we are. We got to hold our ground. The greatest oak was once a little nut who held his ground. Abraham Lincoln. The more as I said, I collect all these books for decades, a long time, and then I'm finally reading them like I knew I would, and I'm finding all this information on these rare books of facts, actual facts about Abraham Lincoln. The man could split a rail. You know what a rail is? A log. I have trouble with a chopstick. I tried to do something with a knife the other day, and I cut myself. It was cutting a little. Yeah, I was trying to. Oh yeah, it was a piece of millet straw. I was trying to, because my birds eat millet, and so I couldn't split a rail. Is what I'm saying, and all there's that humility thing. The man, when he was a young man, he would win contests by splitting rails. He gave 2 guys a concussion by banging their heads together. You didn't want to mess with Abraham Lincoln, but he was a gentle giant though, because he matured, and got in touch with his beautiful heart. I love the man. The more I read about him, it just moves me. And he says, He said, God must have loved the common people because he made so many of them. Welcome to SF Commons. And the war, by the way, we all here know that the war on poverty has become a war on the poor here in San Francisco. Even the people that pay rent have no rights. I mean, it's all big corporations do what they want. Where does a 900-pound gorilla go? Anywhere they want, you know. Yeah, that's why if you're getting Comcast, you're not seeing us on your remote control because Comcast refuses to tag our shows. So you'll see local listings. SF Commons, we have some great producing, some amazing talent. Tell your friends to support SF Commons. Yeah, I could spend my whole hour just naming all the great shows. Blows my mind because you want to know what you're watching, and then it has to be, it's a great disservice to the whole, and it's wrong. It's wrong what they're doing. Even Ross McElreamy said it's wrong when he was on this show, and but as I said, we have no, we got to take what they're given because they're got the power right this minute. So I'll leave it at that. Okay. Then they asked Abraham Lincoln a question: what would destroy the United States? The greatest threat? Question mark. And then he said, quote unquote, "There'd never be a foreign power that could do that. If we die, it will be a national suicide." And that's literally, namaste, chewy chewy, God forbid. But we got to get involved. Like our life depends on it. Don't be distracted by the latest distraction. There's. I did this on my last show, but it's worth repeating because I do want to do some tarot cards for everybody. I know you all like that. He says by the end of November, the orb will be just down to 4 degrees between Saturn and Pluto. Pluto represents power, control, toxic material, and the collective shadow. Excuse me. Saturn stands for authority, tradition, and rules. The old guy rule, all the old men, the white old men. Both planets joining together unites keywords such as institutionalized corruption, structural destruction, the reduction of waste. The passage of the South Node is also in Capricorn along with Saturn and Pluto, has given us a red alert warning that we cannot continue to go on the way we have been going. We just can't keep on keeping on. To quote Gladys Knight, bless you, Gladys. At first, when Pluto and Saturn conjoined the true South Node in April, world-renowned naturalist Sir David Attenborough warned of a climate catastrophe. Extinction rebellions shut down parts of London to raise awareness of climate crisis. Then she goes on, our house Cancer is falling apart. Yeah, we're July 4th of July. We're Cancer people. Our house Cancer is falling apart, and our leaders Capricorn need to start acting accordingly. Yeah, it's happening. But that's why, as I said, this election, we got to get the Dems in there. I don't care if they ran my parrot up a flagpole, vote for her. Whatever the Dems come up with, get them in the office. Anything's better than we got to get out of it. We got to get out of this mess we're in. So this is a very important card, a tarot card. It's the 8 of Swords. Swords are mind, and it says, from the 9 reversed, we move to an even clearer image of clever. That's a Freudian slip. Okay, it says, the clue to this card is the blindfold, symbolizing confusion, oppressive ideas, isolation from other people, divide and conquer. The Romans came up with it. The Russians came up with it. That's what they're doing right now. I mean, really, these people, these Trump people, are like easier to work than a Muppet, and the KGB is just doing exactly that. They're working these right wingers like Muppets. It says, what political liberates, symbolizing confusion, oppressive ideas, isolation from other people in similar situations. What political liberationists then call mystification, keeping people down, not by direct force, although they are doing that, but by training them to believe in their own helplessness. Like LBJ said, you give the poor white guy someone to look down on, he'll empty their pocket for you, you know? LBJ said that. Bless his soul. In that remarkable way the tarot has of summing up in a complex situation in a card can stand for as a diagram for the oppressed condition. Without enlightenment, what the Sufis call conscious evolution. See, that's what's going on in the 19th. When Jupiter conjuncts the galactic center of the Milky Way, we get to tune into all this cosmic consciousness. Do your ohms. Okay, so this card says, be here now. She could, she's got her feet in the mud. So it says, recognition of ignorance is the first and often hardest step to true knowledge. Just, acknowledge that, I don't know anything except waking up like, I want to show them, I'm going to learn something today. I'm wiping the slate clean. I'm an empty slate today, And when you learn, teach. When you get, give. It's not rocket science. And then this is an important card, Dark Night of the Soul. I mean, if you're a conscious human being, you're going through a dark night of the soul. If you've got any kind of consciousness going on, and you know what's going on. I mean, they're still caging kids. They're still dying. You hate your neighbor and you say grace, but, we're on the eve of destruction, but, and this is a sad card, when you're going, okay, so what key things to do is when you're going through the dark night of the soul, keep in mind you're going through it to learn something. Otherwise, there's a divine one mind, sadomasochistic, that enjoys watching us suffer. I don't buy that for one magic moment. I did a lot of shows years ago when I had a lot of friends into S&M, clients. And Thomas More wrote a lot about that. Thomas More, the psychiatrist, he's a good guy. He wrote Care of the Soul. Okay, so this is important, though. It says 5 is always be here now, no matter what suit it's in. And here we have emotions. If you notice, these 3 cups are knocked over, but there's 2 cups. And I always thought this was the sun coming up, or it's a bridge. There's a bridge there, you see, and it says the 5 concerns struggle and sometimes pain. With wands, we saw the adventure of completion and fire there. Cups show the emotional reaction to loss. We're seeing now where a lot of us that are conscious see our democracy is going down the tubes. We've got to fight. Our forefathers said we got to fight whether we keep it or not. It's up to us. So every generation has to, get on, get this thing going on. Cups show. The 3 cups piled out there, it says, the river represents the flow of sorrow, but the bridge symbolizes consciousness and determination. That's why, as I said, once you use your throat chakra and you and you move towards something, it leads from past loss to the future, new beginnings. Don't go into the dumpster to make tonight's dinner. The past is over and done. I release it. Never say the word lose. I release. When she was accepted her loss, she could turn her back, pick up the 2 remaining cubs, and cross the river and go to the bridge in the house, the symbol of stability and continuity. We were all, I guess, in shock, and we've got to totally wake up and and just realize, okay, we got to really. This is why we were all born now, to get some knowledge and fight for, just pick it, throw a dart, whatever it lands on, there's an issue. You're human and civil rights are, so that's the hypothesis there. And then, I'm always talking about Pima, and I'm real big on affirmations. The other day I'm reading Pima, and, everybody's got their thing. And I was kind of taken back when she says this approach is very different from the practicing affirmations, which has been a popular thing to do in some circles. Yeah, my circle, healer circles. educated healer circles. Affirmations are like screaming that you're okay in order to overcome this whisper that you're not. No, that's not it at all, Pema, sweetheart. You missed the whole butt. That's a big contrast to actually uncovering the whispering, realizing, yeah, there's a passing memory. I get where she's going here. There's a passing memory and moving closer to all those fears and edgy feelings that, sometimes, like Winston Churchill said, when you're going through a dark night, when you're going through hell, keep going. So yeah, there's this thing of, I get what she's saying, but this was written before Donald Trump and before the poop hit the fan. I don't know how else to say it, but it's on the line now. I don't know why I keep on laughing. It's so intense. I don't know. It just makes me giggle with nerves. I guess it's gallows humor, So what? There's a book out by just came out this year. It's called Elastic. Leonard, best-selling author of Subliminal, Leonard Mlodinow, the library, the public library puts these stickers where they shouldn't. Well, they're where they are, huh? Mlodinow. And it's very interesting because they talk about when our minds are doing nothing. Like I was saying, like a lot of times on these shows, they say when I'm doing the dishes and I'm stuck somewhere and I just don't think of anything, all these amazing connections and light bulb, I have all these eureka moments, and then I stop and go write them down. After 71 years on this planet, I figured that out. Or when I'm walking, I always take a pencil and paper in my sack, because when I'm walking somewhere and my mind isn't thinking of anything, I get all these amazing, and where everybody else is running around with these cell phones and nobody's never not doing anything. They're always somewhere than where they are. It seems to me very few people, or even the ones that I see, are reading a book, and very few people are just like Carl Jung. There's a Matter of Heart, a documentary on his life. It's been around for decades, where they actually have his this Fraulein, who was a young woman when he was doing psychoanalysis in his estate in Geneva, Switzerland. And she says a lot of times she would look out her window and she would see him by this stream for hours with a stick, just drawing lazy circles in the sand or something. Just he knew the value of what they're just figuring out with the elastic mind, which is what I'm getting to. Thanks for bearing with me. It says, before the event of neuroses and technology that made neuroses possible, it was enormously difficult to understand how daydreaming and wandering mind could produce answers when our conscious efforts to do so had failed. But today we know that quiet brains are not idle brains, that in periods of mental peace, our consciousness this may be overflowing with activity. Today, 200 years after the original, they talk about how throughout history these people couldn't get anything done, like the woman who wrote Frankenstein, Shelley there. And then she always tell her friends after she wrote that it happened when she was thinking of absolutely nothing. It came to her. This is called the default mode of the brain. And they call this the dark energy, just like 98%, 90 even more than that of the universe. We're only like less than 3% of the physical universe we see. There's a whole lot of dark energy out there, which they're starting to understand now. It's far from useless dark energy. But here they're talking about the brain has this unexplored, which explains people like me or anybody with telepathy or psychic ability that they're so a lot of people are opening up psychically, is what I'm telling you now. So he talks, Marcus. So this book is very interesting. Elastic, it's called, simple title. And it talks, Marcus, Raichle, calls what he has been studying for the past 20 years dark energy. In astrophysics, the term dark energy refers to something mysterious that permeates all of space and constitutes 2/3 of all the energy in the universe, yet does goes unseen in everyday life. As a result, it went unnoticed throughout the centuries until it was discovered in the late night by accident in the late 1990s. But Richie's is a neuroscience, not an astronomer, and the energy he has been studying is the dark energy of the brain. Well, I'm like people who like me are going into uh, these dark these pie where there's no funding. You know, it's like we're monks without monasteries. I mean, we're grateful for what we have, but like Aristotle said, a modest prosperity. Everyone should have a modest prosperity, but there's like 1% that's got an obscene prosperity, vulgar prosperity. I mean, how good can you eat? Remember that in Chinatown, Jack Nicholson said that. You know, he looks around, you go, how good can you eat when he finds out how much money's involved? Anyway, yeah, we are literally at on the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and but by 2025 we will have arrived. And I believe when it really kicks, it hasn't even really kicked in yet, but we get a taste. They both like get real close, or they touch in Aquarius, and then of course Saturn moves a whole lot slower than Pluto. So it's going to take Pluto a few years of going backwards and forwards, and Pluto moves like molasses on a cold winter's day. So he's like, come on, Pluto. But, other things are happening like Uranus and Taurus. Once again, the rhythm of Earth. So, yeah, these people, what's her name? I wrote it down so I wouldn't study. So there's Molly McCord, and then there's Jan. I talked about her on I watch her all the time, and she's one of my favorite people. There's a lot of astrologers out there, of course, and so it says, and how so I just want to quieting, even taking a yoga class. It's very trendy now. All these things that people are doing that they feel are, getting them in touch with, and they're doing a guided meditation. Just be in nature. Find some little nook and cranny where you, like just the other day, I stopped and put my bag down and just took a break. And because everything I'm looking at now, I'm seeing for the last time here in San Francisco, because I look at these views. And I realized, wow, in a week or two, I won't see that view anymore. All these turn of the century Victorians with the back stairs that no longer in use, really. They used to have entrances where you could go up the back stairs, and then they tear down these old other buildings so you can actually see these. And then in a couple of weeks or a month, there'll be a whole skyscraper there. And the other day, I was crossing Mission Street and Van Ness there, and I said to this young woman, a student, Asian woman, very American, and I looked and I said, "Wow, you see that view? That's not going to be there in a couple of weeks. They're going to that." Just like that, it's going to be over there. And it was a huge skyscraper right on the corner of Mission and Van Ness. And she goes, good. I couldn't believe it. A little creep. I just smiled. I said, oh, that's the youth of America, God, I mean, she's light years ahead of where I was. I mean, I was all self-destruct when I was that age, Vietnam was, Vietnam. There's no excuses, We're all on different schedules, but yeah, so, dig where you're at. Get into nature. You can't stand in front of a steamroller there, but you can, pick something and get involved with it. And the least thing you can do is vote. The very least, the very, very least thing but or just talk to your people. Talk to your people, the ones that have given up. Like the dog who every time he tries to get the cage is wired, they're experimenting, and every time the dog tries to leave the cage, he gets shocked until finally he just says, "What the hell?" No, don't be that. Remember now what's happening now. Think energy, frequency, and vibrations. It's all about cosmic consciousness, cosmic laws, galactic laws. They're not man-made laws. Keep a lookout for what's going down with the middle of this month. Oh, and I'll be back here this month, October. Yeah, yeah, because next month I only get to do one show around Halloween, probably. That's what happens every year around November, December, because I'm here the 1st and the 3rd. So, God willing, I will be back here on the 17th. So, yeah, the Aries full moon, there's a lot of information on there, and I made some notes on it. And let me turn the page here. October 13th here in California, 2:07 p.m. The moon will be, sun will be 20 degrees Libra. Yeah, that'll be in opposition to Donald Trump and chairman of China there, the president of China's son. There's Jupiter will be in opposition to that stuff that day. Yeah, Jupiter will be in opposition to their sons. And let me see. I don't have the president of China, but the moon will be the moon will be 20 degrees Libra, and his Jupiter 21 degrees Libra is his third house. So this happens in his Jupiter Chiron conjunction, 14, 17 degrees. Oh, yeah. Secrets will be revealed. Yeah, Scorpio goes deep. Yeah, Scorpio loves a mystery, and they're ruthless. Yeah, what's happening now on the 12th and the 13th, Venus and Scorpio will be opposition to Uranus. Nasty secrets will be revealed. Yeah, you know, a lot of astrologers say we shouldn't be event-oriented. Well, I'm not an astrologer. I'm a psychic who uses astrology, you know. Yeah, another one, Charles Bukowski said, real loneliness is not necessarily limited to when you are alone. I love it. Yeah, so the other day I put down my bag, I took out my vape pen, took a little hit of some nice, fine cannabis, and then all of a sudden I noticed this whole colony of ants. They were tiny. I mean, like, not like normal ants. These were like, you know, mini, like, and after my cataract surgery now, I can see a lot of colors, and I can also see the most beautiful things, and like these little ants. I would not have seen that last year. So, you know, God bless. Science does some good stuff, not enough. They used to tell me that when I was growing up and I had to do these menial jobs I hated. They said, you do good work, Frank, not enough. But, you know, everything was not enough. So, yeah, this is literally our fork in the road. I thought too, you know, I have a Mercury in Scorpio, and Mercury's in Scorpio now, so yeah, I have a vicious mind, you know, like a barbed. I used to be really a barbed person. I would say the nastiest things until I realized words hurt. You know, you could hurt people, you would really kill people with words. But it couldn't help but Donald Trump DTs. America's been drunk on oil and war, and now we got the DTs. You know, delirium tremors or whatever. I was in a drunk ward. You know, I sobered up in '82, and yeah, I've seen people go through the DTs long ago when I was an orderly in a hospital before I got messed up with drugs and alcohol when I was innocent. There was a time. Well, I don't think so. Who am I fooling? Before I got bad, destructive habits. I think we're creatures of habit. You know, get healthy habits. You know, cannabis. There's no such thing. I'm not going to get on a soapbox, but scientifically, there's nothing redeeming about alcohol. It dulls our senses. You want to be more, open your senses. Eat foods that make you more alive. You know, read labels. Yeah, there's a whole industry out of Youngstown, Ohio. One of these congressmen of Ohio was talking about he wants to get rid of or control the additive industry. I think he wants to get rid of there's these food additive industries that somehow get through the FDA. I can't tell you how many products I am ready to buy, and then I see natural ingredients and I put it right back on the shelf. No, I'm not falling for that because I know my ears will ring. You know, I know it'll happen. I've been too lonely. I've been Freudian slip. Well, it is a lonely road sometimes, even with my parents and I are both vegan. Okay, I want to pick a couple of cards for you all because we really are. I want people to be excited. You got to have enthusiasm. You know, like I always quote, my parrot loves James Brown. because she screams, and my parrot loves to scream, and when she has a screaming partner, like, so every now and then I put James Brown on, and she loves it, and I love get involved. Okay, so what is my get centered now, and uh, yeah, it's time to go beyond other people's fears and limitations and create your own life. That's the cure for hopelessness. Phew, get right to it, Frank. Chop, rock steady. Let's see. Yeah, anybody? I was itching the other day, and then my skin started breaking out. Anybody with any kind of skin stuff? I lovingly protect myself with thoughts of joy and peace. The past is forgiven and forgotten. I am free in this moment. I could see where Pema was coming from, but you're constantly making affirmations, whether you're thinking them. Most people, when they think they're thinking, are simply rearranging their prejudices. But to actually, say, I'm going to ponder this Tibetan slogan, what goes around comes around, is a good one. Okay, I'm going to see what my friends who are listening to me now. We have a few minutes. I get time to pick a few cards. Okay, 1 and 2. Okay. Have joy. Be happy now. There's the fat cat card. So if you're in America now, you're watching this. This is a 5-year for America. And because our day and month is 11, 3, 2019 is 3, 3 and 2 is 5. So it's 5 and 6. Make adjustments. November is going to be intense. Yeah, this is debauchery is what's surrounding us. This is years, decades, if not hundreds of years of debauchery. So it's always move it up here. Keep it all up here. And let's see the way knowledge. Yeah, if ever we needed knowledge, now we need to share that knowledge. Okay, I wish I had started this earlier. Here's it's all right. It's gonna be all right. Yeah, expect the intensity now. Keep on affirming. Oh, I had this great prayer I wanted to share about take hold of this realization. Okay, some of you are. Empty yourself of any and every thought that denies this. And what he says is, you are some part of divine whole, and the power and the presence of the Spirit is in the word you speak, and that word instantly and perfectly and permanently makes you whole. Know that you are an individualization of the Spirit, the source of wholeness, love, reason, and intelligence. Wow, that's beautiful. Empty yourself of any and every thought that denies this. Know that silently but effectively the divine power of the invisible Spirit is working in you here and now. Let it shine. Get your freak flag and let it shine. And thank you for supporting my efforts here. For enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. I love you. Thank you.